Your financial struggle didn't start today. What you're feeling right now, the pressure, the quiet anxiety, the frustration of trying and still falling short, was set in motion months ago. Money doesn't collapse suddenly. It erodes silently. Every time you told yourself, "I deserve this." Every time spending felt harmless. Every time control was postponed for comfort. Those moments didn't disappear. They accumulated, and now they're speaking. Through unpaid plans, through stress you don't talk about, through the fear of opening your account. Here's the truth most people never hear. Your finances don't react instantly. They respond later. What's happening today is a reflection, not a surprise, which means something powerful. If nothing changes in the next 90 days, nothing changes in your life. But if you interrupt the pattern, if you shift how you think before you spend, how you decide before money leaves your hands, then 3 months from now, your reality looks different. Less panic, more control, clear direction. This is not motivation. This is cause and effect. And once you see it, you can't go back to guessing why you're stuck. Your next 90 days have already started. The question is, will they repeat your past or rewrite your future? You wake up every month with hope. This time feels different. This time, you tell yourself things will change. Then the alert comes in. Salary received. For a moment, you breathe easier. For a moment, you feel safe. And then reality begins to collect its dues. Bills line up quietly. Rent, subscriptions you forgot about, family responsibilities, small obligations that never feel small. Before you've even adjusted your posture, a large portion of your money is already gone. So you do what most people do. You reward yourself. Just something small, something to make the stress feel worth it. A meal, a purchase, a moment of relief. Not because you're careless, but because you're exhausted. Then life interrupts. An unexpected expense, a phone call, a problem that couldn't wait, an emergency you didn't budget for. And just like that, the number drops again. By the end of the month, you're staring at the same balance. Zero, or worse, a negative reminder of effort without progress. And the most painful part? You don't feel lazy. You feel worn out. You don't feel irresponsible. You feel trapped in a loop you didn't choose. You're not struggling because you don't work hard. You're struggling because nothing ever truly changes. Money comes in, but never stays. You promise yourself, next month will be better. I'll be more careful. I'll plan smarter. But next month arrives, and it looks exactly like the last one. And while this cycle repeats, you notice something else. Others are moving forward. Not louder, not flashier, just steadier. They seem calmer, less reactive, more in control. And watching that hurts. Not loudly, but quietly. Because you know you're capable. You know you're trying. Yet your results keep contradicting your effort. Jim Rohn once said, "You don't get paid by the hour. You get paid by the value you bring to the hour." But no one told you that value isn't only earned. It's managed. And here's the scary part most people ignore. This cycle doesn't break on its own. Time doesn't fix it. Hard work alone doesn't fix it. Even earning more doesn't fix it. Because what's draining you isn't money. It's the system running your decisions behind the scenes. And unless that system changes, every raise, every extra income, every new opportunity will eventually disappear the same way. Quietly, predictably, painfully. Here's where most people get it wrong. They think the problem is income. They believe it's inflation. They blame the economy. They blame timing. They blame bad luck. But none of those are the real enemy. Because if income solved financial struggle, then people who earn more would never feel stressed. Yet they do. If inflation were the cause, then everyone would be drowning equally. They're not. And if luck controlled money, hardworking people wouldn't keep losing ground, while others quietly build stability. So what's really happening? The enemy is invisible, silent, and deeply personal. It's the identity you operate from. When money enters your life, long before numbers show up in your account, decisions have already been made. Not consciously, automatically. Your habits are running on autopilot. Your reactions are emotional. Your choices are familiar, not intentional. You don't tell money where to go. You let instinct handle it. And instinct is shaped by fear, comfort, and past experiences, not long-term outcomes. That's why two people can earn the same amount and end up in completely different places. One feels constantly behind, the other feels grounded, not because one is smarter, but because one is deliberate. Warren Buffett said, "Chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken." Most people don't feel the chains. They just feel tired. They don't notice the small leaks. They only notice the empty balance. Because money doesn't vanish. It follows direction. And here's the truth that changes everything. Money doesn't disappear. It obeys instructions you're not aware you're giving. Every swipe is an instruction. Every impulse is a command. Every emotional decision is a signal. And money listens. It moves where it's told to move. It leaves when it's told to leave. It stays only when it's intentionally directed. The problem isn't that you don't care. It's that no one taught you how to lead money. Instead of reacting to it, you were taught to earn, not to command. You were taught to survive, not to control. Steve Jobs once said, "You have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future." But money doesn't connect dots on its own. It reflects patterns. And until those patterns are challenged, every new income level simply funds the same behavior in a bigger way. This is why people say, "I don't know where my money went." It went exactly where your identity sent it. And once you see this, once you realize the problem isn't outside of you, but operating quietly within your habits, you can't unsee it, because from this point forward, every decision becomes visible, and awareness changes everything. This is the moment everything begins to change. Not because your income suddenly increases, not because life becomes easier, but because your perspective shifts. Most people believe wealth is created when money is earned. That's the lie that keeps them chasing. Here's the truth no one explains clearly. Wealth is created the moment money touches your hands. Before it's spent, before it's divided, before emotion interferes. That single moment, when money arrives, decides whether your future improves or repeats itself. This is where most people lose control. Not later. Right there. They think earning more will fix the pressure. They think the next raise will bring relief. They think one opportunity will change everything. But history keeps proving them wrong. More income without a new mindset only creates larger mistakes. That's why people earning twice as much still feel behind. That's why financial stress rises with lifestyle. That's why progress feels temporary. Because money doesn't upgrade identity. Identity directs money. Naval Ravikant said, "Money is a tool. It will take you wherever you wish, but it will not replace you as the driver." Most people aren't driving. They're reacting. They spend based on mood. They decide based on pressure. They choose based on familiarity, not direction. And here's the turning point. The wealthy don't ask, "How much can I spend?" They ask, "What decision moves me forward?" They don't think short-term relief. They think long-term alignment. This doesn't mean deprivation. It means intention. It means slowing down the moment before money leaves your hands. It means shifting from impulse to instruction. Because once you realize money follows leadership, everything changes. You stop feeling controlled. You stop feeling anxious. You stop feeling behind. Not because you're rich, but because you're conscious. James Clear said, "You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems." And your money system is built from repeated decisions, not motivation. This is why discipline alone fails. This is why budgeting without identity collapses. This is why willpower eventually gives up. Because if the mindset stays the same, the outcome cannot improve. But when the mindset shifts, behavior follows. And when behavior changes, results have no choice but to catch up. This is the moment where most people either lean in or click away. Because the next step requires honesty. And it asks one uncomfortable question. Are you ready to become the kind of person your future finances require? Now here's where timing becomes everything. Change doesn't require years. It requires a window. 90 days. Not because it sounds motivational, but because it's how behavior actually resets. Most people think transformation is dramatic. They expect a breakthrough moment, a sudden shift, a lucky turn. That's not how real change works. Real change is quiet. It's repetitive. It's built through small decisions stacked over time. And 90 days is long enough to interrupt old patterns, but short enough to stay committed. Your brain adapts within this window. Your habits begin to loosen their grip. Your reactions slow down. What once felt automatic starts to feel optional. This is why fitness programs last 3 months. This is why productivity challenges use this timeline. This is why businesses measure performance quarterly. Because 90 days reveals truth. Your financial life works the same way. Your bank account is a delayed mirror. It reflects who you were weeks ago, not who you want to be today. That's why change feels frustrating. You do the right thing, yet nothing seems different at first, but behind the scenes, something is shifting. Every intentional decision rewrites the pattern. Every pause before spending weakens the old habit. Every conscious choice strengthens the new identity. Charlie Munger said, "The best thing a human being can do is help another human being know more." And knowing this timeline keeps you from quitting too early. Most people stop at 30 days. They lose patience at 60. They give up right before results appear because they mistake delay for failure. But delay is proof the system is working. By the end of 90 days, clarity replaces confusion. Control replaces chaos. Confidence replaces anxiety. Not because money magically increased, but because behavior stabilized. This is the phase where people finally say, "I feel different." And that feeling isn't emotion. It's alignment. But this only happens if you know what to focus on inside the 90-day window. Because effort without direction creates burnout. And that's why the next part matters more than anything you've heard so far. There's a simple framework that decides whether these 90 days change your life or fade into another forgotten attempt. And most people miss it completely. This is where change stops being an idea and starts becoming visible, because awareness is the first real form of control. Most people believe they have money problems. What they actually have are decision problems they don't notice. Spending happens fast, almost invisible. A tap, a swipe, a yes without thinking. Not because you're careless, but because you're conditioned. Your brain is trained to react, not to pause. So money leaves before logic arrives. That's why people say, "I don't know what happened. I didn't even spend that much. It just went." But money never moves randomly. It moves through moments you ignore. The first rule of the 90-day reset is simple. Nothing leaves your hands without your awareness. Not control, not restriction, awareness. Because the moment you notice a decision, you gain power over it. Before the shift, spending feels automatic. After the shift, it becomes optional. You begin to slow down the instant before money leaves. Not to judge yourself, not to feel guilty, but to ask one quiet question. Does this move me forward or keep me comfortable? That pause changes everything. Because comfort protects the present. Progress builds the future. And most people have been choosing comfort without realizing the cost. Peter Drucker said, "What gets measured gets managed." Awareness is measurement. When you start noticing patterns, noticing when you spend emotionally, when boredom triggers purchases, when stress pushes decisions, those habits lose their grip. Not instantly, gradually. And gradually is how real change lasts. You stop being surprised by your balance. You stop fearing your account. You stop avoiding numbers. Not because you have more money, but because you finally see it. This is the moment people feel relief. For the first time, because clarity removes shame. And once awareness is established, something unexpected happens. You start seeing yourself differently. Not as someone who can't manage money, but as someone who is learning to lead it. And that leads directly to the second shift. Because awareness alone isn't enough. If you don't change who you believe you are, your old habits will eventually return. Which is why the next part is where most people fail and where real transformation begins. Now that awareness is in place, it's time for the part most people ignore. Identity. Because money doesn't just follow rules. It follows who you believe you are. Most people think wealth is external. They think money is earned through effort, luck, or opportunity. The truth is sharper and harder to hear. Your habits, your choices, your automatic reactions, all of them are proof of your identity. You don't spend like a rich person because you don't see yourself as one. You don't save consistently because you don't feel like someone who can. Your money behavior always matches your self-image. Tony Robbins said, "It's not about the goal. It's about who you become to achieve it." Most people skip this step. They try budgets, apps, or motivational videos. They think a new system can override identity. It can't. Identity is invisible, but it's the engine. If you see yourself as a spender, you will spend. If you see yourself as broke, you will struggle. If you see yourself as someone in control, money will follow your direction. This is why discipline alone fails. You can force a habit temporarily, but your inner story eventually reasserts itself. The second rule of a 90-day reset is clear. You must upgrade your money identity. Start asking yourself, who am I becoming with my finances? Who does my bank account represent? Am I someone who reacts or someone who decides? Every small decision should reflect this new identity. Before you buy, ask, does this decision belong to the person I'm becoming? Before you save, ask, am I choosing the habits of someone who controls money? This isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. Every purchase, every impulse, every habit is either building your new self or reinforcing the old one. And here's the powerful part. When your identity shifts, behavior follows automatically. Spending slows, saving grows, stress diminishes. You stop blaming income. You stop chasing luck. You start directing outcomes. Your choices become consistent. Your account begins to reflect your new self. And this is the stage where transformation starts to feel real, where financial confidence begins to replace fear, where the next 90 days stop feeling like a trial and start feeling like a plan, because identity is the invisible architecture of your money. And if this is mastered, no system, app, or motivational quote can derail you. Which brings us to the third and most overlooked part of the reset: control over your environment. The first two parts, awareness and identity, are powerful. But without the third, most people fail. Because habits are fragile, willpower is limited, intentions fade, and the environment you live in quietly dictates your choices. Think about it. Apps sending notifications every hour, friends who pressure spending, social media showing lifestyles you can't afford, even your own home filled with triggers for impulse. All of it shapes decisions, often without you realizing it. The third rule of a 90-day reset is simple. If it drains your focus, energy, or money, it must leave your environment. Not all at once, not dramatically, but intentionally. Remove distractions, block triggers, limit temptation, replace them with reminders of who you're becoming. Every visual cue, every notification, every pressure point either supports the identity you're building or sabotages it. And here's the truth most people ignore. You cannot out-discipline your environment. You can't force control in chaos. You can't rely on motivation alone. James Clear said, "Environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior." And when your environment aligns with your identity, decisions become easier, choices become automatic, stress diminishes. Suddenly, saving feels natural, spending slows, investing becomes intentional, and the account begins to reflect the person you are becoming. This is where most people finally see progress. When a 90-day reset stops feeling like work and starts feeling like growth, because your environment is no longer an obstacle. It becomes a partner. Every app, every friend, every subscription, every habit, all of it now moves you forward instead of holding you back. And here's the most important part. Even if you slip occasionally, even if old habits return briefly, your environment will nudge you back into alignment. This is why the third part is often the difference between temporary improvement and lasting transformation. And once all three, awareness, identity, and environment, are combined, the 90-day reset stops being a plan. It becomes a system that rewires behavior, removes chaos, and finally lets money obey your direction. Most people never reach this stage. They either give up after a few weeks or try systems without changing themselves. But if you commit to all three, by the end of 90 days, stress, confusion, and fear will begin to fade. You will start feeling control, confidence, peace, not because money magically appeared, but because the invisible forces shaping your decisions are now under your leadership. And here's the question I want you to ask yourself. Are you ready to take control of your environment and let it work for you instead of against you? Now imagine the day 90 days from now, not in theory, not as a wish, but as reality. You open your account, and instead of anxiety, there's clarity. Instead of stress, there's control. Instead of confusion, there's confidence. Every dollar has a purpose. Every decision has a reason. Every choice reflects who you are becoming. The little victories you thought didn't matter suddenly add up. Savings feel natural. Spending feels intentional. Emergencies no longer paralyze you. They test your preparedness. You notice something else. You're calmer. You don't panic when a bill arrives. You don't feel the need to justify purchases. You feel alignment, a quiet satisfaction that comes from mastery, not luck. Because money is no longer a reaction. It's a reflection of the person you've become. And here's the real power. Even if your income hasn't increased dramatically, even if life hasn't handed you a windfall, you are already ahead of 99% of people who continue living the same cycles, month after month, year after year, because the change isn't in the numbers. It's in your identity, your habits, your environment, your leadership over your own finances. Warren Buffett said, "The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. But after 90 days, those chains loosen. They no longer control you. You feel free for the first time in years. Not because life gave you more, but because you finally took control of what you already had." And this is the stage where people feel unstoppable, where stress becomes a memory, where confidence isn't just temporary, it's internal, where the future starts looking like a series of opportunities, not obstacles. This is what the 90-day reset actually delivers. It's not a magic trick. It's not a promise of wealth. It's a blueprint for control, a pathway from reaction to intention, from fear to certainty. And once you experience this transformation, you'll never see money the same way again. But here's the hard truth most people never admit. Even with awareness, identity, and environment in place, most people fail. Not because they aren't capable, not because they aren't working hard, not because life is unfair. They fail because they fall back into old patterns, because comfort is more seductive than discipline, because consistency is harder than motivation, because waiting for the perfect moment is easier than taking action. Most people are stopped by three invisible forces. 1. Fear of making mistakes, of losing, of being wrong. 2. Inconsistency, doing the right thing sometimes and ignoring it the rest of the time. 3. Waiting for the right raise, the right timing, the perfect plan. These forces look harmless. They feel harmless, but they quietly sabotage every attempt to grow. Tony Robbins said, "Most people fail because they major in minor things." And money doesn't forgive indecision. It doesn't wait for the motivated. It flows where leadership exists, not hope. If you slip back into old habits, even once, the cycle begins again. Your balance drops. Your confidence wavers. Your peace disappears. That's why most people never experience real change. Because change is uncomfortable. Because it asks you to see the truth you've been avoiding. And most people would rather stay busy than confront the invisible forces controlling their choices. But here's the secret the successful know. Awareness plus identity plus environment plus consistency equals unstoppable momentum. The gap between success and struggle is rarely opportunity. It's rarely intelligence. It's rarely income. It's the silent forces people refuse to acknowledge. And once you recognize them, you gain power. Because power isn't doing everything perfectly. It's seeing the forces at play and intentionally designing your life to work despite them. This is why the 90-day reset works. Because it forces you to confront the uncomfortable, stay disciplined, through discomfort and align everything that was previously working against you. Now here's the part most people never reach. The choice is yours. Will the next 90 days repeat your old patterns? Or will they finally rewrite your financial story? Because what you do from this moment forward decides everything. Most people will scroll past this video. Most people will keep doing the same things and wonder why nothing changes. But you've seen the truth. You've seen where money really goes. You've seen the habits and identity shaping your results. You've seen why your environment matters. And that knowledge is dangerous in the right way. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. So here's what I want you to do. Take a moment. Think about your next decision. Every dollar, every habit, every small choice for the next 90 days matters more than you realize. Comment below, 90 days, if you're ready to reset your finances and finally take control. And if you want the next video, the part that shows advanced strategies to accelerate your wealth in the next 90 days, comment part 2. Because the next step isn't optional. It's unavoidable if you want results. Your future self is already waiting. The question is, will you meet them with intention or with the same habits that kept you stuck for years?